Okay, so today I'm gonna talk about the U.S. airspace classes. I'm gonna start with the Class A airspace, which is the airspace that starts at 18,000 MSL mean sea level and goes up to 16,000 flight level, including the airspace overlying the waters within 12 nautical miles of the coast over the 48 continuous states and Alaska. Class B airspace. Generally, that airspace from the surface to 10,000 feet means MSL, surrounding the nation busiest airports and terminals of IFR operations or passengers and plannements. The configuration of each Class B airspace area is individually tailored and consists of a surface area and two or more layers. Some Class B airspace areas resemble upside-down wedding cakes and is designed to contain all published instrument procedures once an aircraft enters the airspace. An ATC clearance is required for all aircraft to operate in the area, and all aircraft that are so clear receive separation service within the airspace. The cloud clearance required for BFR operation is clear of clouds in Class B airspace. Class C, the airspace from the surface up to 4,000 feet MSL above the airport elevation. Surrounding those airports that have an operational control tower are serviced by a radar approach control, and that have a certain number of IFR operations or passenger emplannements. I'll talk. The configuration of each Class C airspace area is individually tailored. The surface usually consists of a surface area within a 5 nautical mile radius and another circle within a 10 nautical mile radius that extends from 1,200 feet up to 4,000 feet above the airport elevation. Each person must establish two-way radio communication with the ATC air traffic control facility providing air traffic service prior to entering the airspace, and thereafter maintain those communications while within the airspace. BFR aircraft are only separated from IFR aircraft within the airspace. I'm going to talk about Class D. Generally, that airspace, the airspace from the surface to 2,500 feet above the airport elevation (MSL), surrounding those airports that have an operational control tower. The configuration of each Class D airspace area is individually tailored, and when instrument procedures are published, the airspace will normally be designed to contain the procedures. Arrival extensions for instrument approach procedures may be Class D or E airspace, unless otherwise authorized. Each person must establish two-way radio communication within the air traffic control facility providing air traffic service prior to entering the airspace, and thereafter maintain this communication while in the airspace. No separation services are provided to BFR air class. Class E. Generally, if the airspace is not Class A, B, C, or D, and it is controlled airspace, it's a Class E airspace. Class E airspace extends upward from either the surface or a designated altitude to the overlying or adjacent controlled airspace. When designated as a surface area, the airspace will be configured to contain all instrument procedures. Also in the class area, in the class are Federal Airways, airspace beginning at either 700 feet or at 1,500 feet above ground level (AGL), used to transition to the terminal or en route environment. En route domestic and offshore airspace are designated below 18,000 feet MSL, unless designated at a lower altitude. Class E airspace begins at 14,500 feet MSL mean sea level over the United States, including that airspace overlying the waters within 12 nautical miles of the coast of the 48 contiguous states and Alaska. Class E airspace do not include the airspace 18,000 feet MSL or above. Now I'm gonna talk about the services. Service, a generic term that designates functions or assistance available from a rendered by air traffic control. For example, Class C service would denote the ATC service provided within a Class C airspace area. Special VFR operation, aircraft operating in accordance with the clearances in B, C, D, or E surface areas in weather conditions less than the basic VFR weather minimums. Such person must be required by the pilot. Such operation must be required by the pilot and approved by the ATC. Surface area. The airspace contained by the lateral boundary of the Class B, C, D, or E airspace designated for an airport that begins at the surface and extends upward. Terminal VFR radar service. A national program instituted to extend the terminal radar service provides the instrument flight rules, aircraft to visual flight rules aircraft. The program is divided into 4 types of service referred to as basic radar service. Terminal radar service area TRSA service, Class B service, and Class C service. The type of service provided at a particular location is contained in the airport facility director. Basic radar service. These services are provided to VFR aircraft by all commissioned terminal radar facilities. Basic radar service includes safety alerts, traffic advisory, limited radar vectoring when requested by the pilot, and sequencing at locations where procedures have been established for this purpose, and when covered by a letter of agreement. The purpose of this service is to adjust the flow of arriving IFR and VFR aircraft into the traffic pattern in a safe and orderly manner, and to provide traffic advisory to departing VFR aircraft. TRSA service. The service provides, in addition to basic radar service, sequences of all IFR and participating VFR aircraft to the primary airport and separation between all aircraft VFR aircraft. Participating VFR aircraft. The purpose of this service is to provide separation between all participating VFR aircraft and all IFR aircraft operating within the area defined as TRSA. Class C service. This service provides, in addition to basic radar service, approved separation between IFR and VFR aircraft and sequences of VFR arrivals to the primary airport. Class B service. This service provides, in addition to basic radar service, approved separation of aircraft based on IFR, VFR, and weight and sequences of VFR arrivals to the primary airport. That's the description of the classes. Now I'm gonna read to you the separation there need to be on every class airspace. Class A airspace is entry requirement, a traffic clearance. You need to have the minimum qualification is the instrument rating. There need to be a two-way radio communication. There's traffic advisory, former airspace equivalent, positive control area. Class B, you need to get an ATC clearance to get into. You need to hold at least a private or a student certificate. Location depends. It's a two-way radio communication. They allowed the special BFR. BFR visibility, the minimum is 3 status mile. Distance from clouds, it's clear of clouds. You only need to be clear of cloud. BFR, aircraft separation of all aircraft. Traffic advisory, yes, and former airspace equivalent, terminal control area, TCA. Class C, it's a two-way radio communication. You need to hold at least a student certificate. It's a two-way radio communication. Special BFR allowed, yes. It's 3 status miles. Minimum visibility. Distance from clouds is 500 feet below, 1,000 feet above, 2,000 feet horizontally. BFR aircraft separation, it's IFR. Class D, you need two-way radio communication. You need to hold at least a student certificate. You need a two-way radio communication. The special BFR allowed. Visibility, minimum visibility, 3 status miles. Distance from clouds, 500 feet below, 1,000 feet above, and 2,000 feet horizontally. The BFR aircraft separation, runway operation, traffic advisory, workload permitting, air traffic area and control zone, former space equivalent. Class E, you don't need to have any two-way radio communication or any ATC clearance. You don't need it. You need to at least hold a student certificate. Two-way radio communication is not required. Special BFR, yes. You need minimum visibility 3 status miles. Distance from clouds is 500 feet below, 1,000 feet above, and 2,000 feet horizontally. There's no aircraft separation. Workload permitting, traffic advisories. Class G. You don't require any kind of entry. You need to hold at least a student certificate. Two-way radio communication is not required. Special BFR is not available. BFR minimum visibility is 1 status mile. Distance from clouds is just clear of clouds. And I think that's it. This is what I just read, so you can have an idea of what I was saying, how we go into the classes, the airspace. Yeah.